Is the truth that existence is non-existence actually helpful in my life?
Last time, we spoke about the truth that existence is non-existence and non-existence is existence. This is the meaning behind the famous Buddhist teaching, form is emptiness and emptiness is form. But after hearing this teaching, if we simply think, that's right, something can only be called existing, because there was non-existence before it. That makes sense. And stop there, then it remains nothing more than an intellectual exercise. Today, let us apply this truth to our actual lives. For example, when feelings of depression arise, what does it feel like? It feels as though that depression has always been within me. But when viewed through the lens of truth, the very fact that depression is here now means it was not there to begin with. Everyone, depression was never there in the first place. This is the truth. Take a moment to sit with these words. Depression was never there in the first place. This is the truth. How does that feel? Can you feel a sense of relief? This truth gives us hope. Because it is true that depression was never there in the first place, all that remains is to awaken to the fact that depression was never a part of me to begin with. Even if you cannot fully realize this right now, knowing this and not knowing this are worlds apart. The same is true for inferiority, panic disorder, and sadness. The very fact that they are felt now means they were not there before. Failure in life is nothing more than an illusion created by imagining success. Without imagining success, there is no failure.
Are you saying that the suffering I feel right now is an illusion?
If someone had been depressed since the moment they were born, would they even know what depression is? It is only because they have known what it feels like not to be depressed that they can recognize depression now. In short, the suffering you are experiencing now was not there to begin with. If anxiety, fear, or hatred arises, then paradoxically, that itself is evidence that there was once a time when those things were absent. I am not denying that you feel anxious or depressed. I acknowledge that this is how you feel. Those feelings are clearly present. But what they truly are is an illusion created by thought. Whenever we experience suffering, it means there was once a time when that suffering was not there. We suffer precisely because there was a time when we did not suffer.
Suffering feels real. How can I be free from it?
People suffer because they believe an illusion to be real. So how can we free ourselves from an illusion that feels so real? First, we need to listen to this teaching and thoroughly understand it. Then, we need to see it directly with the eye of the heart. Ah, this is an illusion. The moment we see this, something naturally drops away, and this is the true beginning of rest. If you have practiced meditation, you have probably heard the word rest. But rest is not simply relaxing the body and mind. That is merely one of the many benefits that meditation can bring. Then why do we meditate? It is to see with the eye of the heart the true nature of suffering. The world I perceive right now has felt so painful and difficult. And yet, to see through it with the eye of the heart and to step beyond it, this is what we call awakening or enlightenment. If you feel at ease simply because your circumstances have improved, that is not awakening. If things have become better because external circumstances have changed, then you can fall back into suffering at any time. But one who has awakened through wisdom never returns to that former way of being, because the world they perceive has changed. Therefore, to be free from suffering, we must change the world we perceive. What do I mean by the world we perceive? Simply put, each of us experiences ourselves, other people, and the world around us. We perceive ourselves. We perceive others. And we perceive the world around us. Together, these make up the world we perceive. Each of us lives within the world we perceive. This morning, the world I perceived may have been heaven. By the afternoon, it may have become hell. In an instant, we move from a hell realm to a heavenly realm, and back again. This is the world we perceive. And unless the world we perceive changes, we cannot be free from suffering.
What happens if I do not change the world I perceive?
If I perceive myself as a depressed person, then unless I change the world I perceive, I will continue to live in depression throughout this life. No one can change the world I perceive for me. Only I can change it. What happens if I die without changing it in this lifetime? Does everything simply disappear with death? According to the truth, it does not. Look carefully at life. No one is born depressed, yet at some point through the circumstances of life, depression arises. If a person dies in that state and is born again, what happens then? Because the energy we call I continues, the world that person perceives through depression also continues. Of course, they would not be depressed from the moment they are born. But when certain conditions eventually unfold, depression arises again. That is why the depression and anxiety you experience now must be resolved in this lifetime. If they are resolved in this lifetime, the karmic chain that would otherwise continue through lifetime after lifetime comes to an end. Not only depression, but also the many misfortunes that depression brings with it come to an end. Could this be anything other than awakening? To be free from the depression and anxiety you are experiencing now, to be free from the delusion and ignorance within the world you perceive. This is what true awakening is, and through this process, we develop a clear understanding of true practice and true awakening.
What do I need to awaken to be free from ignorance?
As I mentioned earlier, awakening means becoming free from the misperceptions and distortions in how we perceive ourselves, other people, and the world. But you may also have heard teachings such as this. We must awaken from the assumption that there is a self, that there is another, and that there is a world. This is a profound teaching. However, before becoming free from such a profound assumption, should we not first become free from the misperceptions that are causing us suffering right now? Without addressing the countless illusions we carry within us, is it really possible to awaken from a deeper illusion? If there is something in your life right now that feels unsatisfying, then that is where you should begin. What is the greatest dissatisfaction in your life right now? What misperceptions or distortions might be hidden within it? And if you could become free from that dissatisfaction, what could possibly be more important than that?
If I'm satisfied with my life, why would I need awakening?
Some people say I am satisfied with my life. I do not suffer very much. That may well be the case, but everything changes. This is the truth, and because everything changes, no one can remain satisfied forever. Human beings inevitably become attached to something, yet everything to which we become attached changes. Therefore, no one can remain satisfied forever. Rather, we are merely caught up in temporary pleasures. Even so, if your life feels satisfying, take a closer look. Ask yourself, am I truly satisfied with my life as it is right now? If you observe carefully, you will discover that not even a single day is completely satisfying. For example, when you wake up in the morning, do you immediately get out of bed feeling completely satisfied and thinking, I slept well? The moment you open your eyes, look carefully at your mind. For most people, a subtle dissatisfaction has already begun the moment they wake up. Is there anyone who finds this world completely satisfying? If you observe carefully for just one day, it becomes clear that life is inherently unsatisfactory. Therefore, the thought, I am satisfied with life, so I do not need practice, may itself be an assumption. In such a case, the first thing to observe is, am I truly satisfied with my life? Only when we see the suffering right in front of us can we begin to become free from it. And how can we become free from that suffering? We need to awaken to the fact this dissatisfaction that I feel right now is not ultimately real. It exists as an illusion. This is what we need to realize. Therefore, there is no one who does not need awakening. Everyone needs to awaken. And for that awakening, we all need meditation.